This program is brought to you by Dolco Media. Fixing South Sudan, ideas for the new nation. With award-winning journalist Mading Mor.
Absolutely.
Honorable Ashwin, as you can see, the ideas of the initiatives are varied.
On July 8th, the clashes in J1 took place, which was very unfortunate.
Including country-specific ones, which and the rebellion continue to be
Fixing South Sudan, ideas for the new nation.
Hello and welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Adingo. This week on Fixing South Sudan, we gauge the impact of diaspora contribution to the development and growth of the Republic of South Sudan. Should we lure back our populations who are scattered around the world, from the west to the east to the north and to the south of the globe, for South Sudan to make a dent in its rebuilding efforts? Is diaspora contribution a good idea for fixing South Sudan? Joining us is a 23-year-old graduate of political science from Iowa State University. His name is Akol Nyok. Akol grew up and studied in America and recently returned to the nation to give back to his ancestral home. Akol is a consultant for the Juba-based Nile Foundation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
When we talk about diaspora contribution, what are we talking about? What is diaspora?
I mean, diaspora is just people scattered around. Diaspora is common throughout history, not just within South Sudanese, but there's South Sudanese who are not in South Sudan. That's the diaspora. Their contribution is they want to come and help progress this nation, but they don't know how to do that.
And you are a member of the diaspora.
I am a member of diaspora.
As we introduced, you were in the United States. When did you go to the United States?
I went to the United States in the year 2000.
And how old were you?
5 years old.
And you have recently come back. When did you come back?
I came here in August 2017.
You are back.
I'm back.
And you think that is meaningful.
Very meaningful.
So what do you think the diaspora can contribute?
I feel like the diaspora can contribute in the various of skills, experience, and knowledge. First and foremost, a lot of people in the diaspora have been working in very professional areas, in medicine, in law, teaching. Some of them have gone to start small businesses. So they have hands-on experience in the developing world. And this experience can come here and apply it to setting up institutions that we need for the nation.
They have been fortunate to go to formal education.
Mm-hmm.
So they have studied all kinds of fields.
Correct.
And you think that can be harnessed here at home?
I believe it.
What did you study yourself?
I studied political science, and my areas of expertise are in economics, law, and political science. So institutional building, theory, writing, anything related to social sciences is my background.
When people speak of the diaspora and we talk of the African diaspora in general, people usually talk about it in terms of brain drain. That means the best minds have been drained out of Africa. And then people want to reverse it by saying we need a brain gain, which is attracting them. So what will it take for the diaspora to come back?
I think environment, not necessarily security or the common things we think about. I think a conducive environment for people to come back and be integrated into their homes. Such as myself, I am somebody who spent 17 years away from my country, and I went as a young boy. And some of the things I see I didn't remember. Coming back is difficult. I have the experience, I have the knowledge, but fitting in with the culture, the society, and integrating takes time. And I think that's the most important thing with people from diaspora. Many of them don't know South Sudan. They've never seen South Sudan. They just hear of South Sudan. They've never been to their villages, but they have that passion to come back, but they want to know how can they be integrated and fit into the society.
What did it take for you to come back?
Persistence. I had to just be patient. I had to be patient. I had to ask a lot of questions. I had to first accept that I'm coming back to something I don't know. And I don't know a lot of things. And I must be honest about that. Whether things about culture, language, or the common society. And I have to say that my skills are technical skills. They're skills that I can apply in terms of work, but they're not skills I can apply socially. And one thing I learned, especially being back, I went to the villages, I traveled. My background and skills I can't discuss with regular people. This is for a professional setting, but me, I need to develop myself in a social setting, within my community, within my peers, develop relationships outside of what I studied. So that's how I integrated, just humbling myself, understanding that I am new, it's going to take time to integrate, but I need to be patient. I need to every day take small steps.
How long have you been back in South Sudan?
6 months now.
And you feel integrated?
Kind of.
And so when you came back, what were you expecting?
When I came back, I didn't know what to expect. On the plane ride, I was very excited. I heard a lot of negative things, especially coming from there about South Sudan, but I wanted to see for myself. I was excited to see my family. I was expecting to see just what is South Sudan. And I was expecting to see young people who are interacting in an environment that's very harsh and still trying to persist. And that's what I ended up seeing.
And for you to have made it to South Sudan, you have a support system.
Yes, I have a very great support system.
And that is usually missing for those who come back from the diaspora. And people have come back and they have went back.
Mm-hmm.
And what I underlined from what you said is that environment, peace is important.
It's very
For
important.
people to come back, peace is important. But that's one layer. The other layer is what can the government do to bring people back?
I think what it could do is establish a skill set, identify what necessary skill the nations need. The most important thing in every country is the economy. Economic growth is a matter of skills, providing goods and services. We need to export more goods. We need to have a more local economy. So the government should identify what skills do we need first. Then identify in South Sudan who has these skills. And then from there identify, okay, if somebody in diaspora has a skill that we really need, what can we do to bring them here, set up a conducive environment so they can contribute and help locals. It's a psychological thing where if you see a South Sudanese as an engineer or a doctor, young people will be more enthusiastic about being engineers and doctors. But if we're seeing Europeans, Chinese, Americans, that's going to affect the youth. But if we're seeing more South Sudanese prospering, creating businesses, being lawyers, being doctors, that's going to give the youth a lot of confidence.
A program is needed, a robust program.
Exactly.
To bring everyone back.
Yes.
It's a serious business.
Serious business.
And if it is not done, South Sudan is not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere.
You are ready to say that?
I'm ready to say we're not going anywhere if we don't bring back these people.
Now, what is interesting, before this show, I had a talk with members of the Canadian diaspora, and I asked them, what will it take for you to come back? And here is what they said. It will take peace, it will take unity of the people of South Sudan, and objecting to ideas of division, tribalism, discrimination. We accept ourselves, and only South Sudanese can build this nation. That is the point you are saying. Mm-hmm. That we need organic development. South Sudanese to build their communities. And they are saying South Sudan is so rich if we have an environment for coexistence. Sky is not even the limit. It's just the start. Do you agree with them?
I disagree with them in some aspects because I don't think that we should wait for the environment to be created. I think we should create the environment. Nobody's going to come from the sky and bring unity in South Sudan. Nobody's going to come from the sky and create economic development in South Sudan. We create economic development. We bring unity. So when I say diaspora needs to come back, is their skills and expertise. They need to bring it here in a harsh environment and do what they can do to bring people together. Don't wait till things are done. Do things.
Nation building will be done by the people we are talking about.
Nation building, yes.
And for South Sudan to get to where it needs to be, they have to be here.
They have to be here. You know why? Most people, when they get scholarships, where do they go? They leave South Sudan. They go study in Japan, East Africa, Europe, US. Why don't you bring people who studied there to come teach these people here? No matter what, nobody can refute the fact that we need information. And people in South Sudan already who grew up here will look for opportunities to leave South Sudan to go study, to go get work, and go get experience. Why don't the people who got experience to work come here and train the people that are already here?
Now, here is a problem. When the diaspora come and they don't get jobs, they are going to go back. So there is a policy change that is needed. So what would you advocate for? You said, okay, there has to be skills identification, a special program that targets the educated members of the diaspora. Because there are those who are in the diaspora who are not educated. But in the interest of development, we need everyone back, if possible. But if necessary, we have to look only at the educated elite to come back and contribute to South Sudan. Now you are an expert. You know there are unique situations in, let's say, in the West, where you are coming from. It's not only about South Sudan, but also over there, there are unique situations that have boxed up people so that they don't look outside that box. So what will it take to overcome them over there?
I think it's culture. What you say is right. There's a lot of people in diaspora who haven't been educated. But what needs to happen is a commitment from the diaspora, because it's a two-way street. There's people who are locally here who they have a negative view of the diaspora because they say, okay, these people come here when everything is great, they have great jobs, they live comfortable, but when a crisis happens, they leave. Examples in 2013 and 2016, a lot of diaspora members left. They went back. When the economy got back, they went back to the US, they went back to Australia. What needs to happen is those of us in the diaspora need to commit to South Sudan. We can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Yes, many of us have dual citizenships. Many of us, snap a finger, can go to the US, go to Australia. But we need to commit to the country completely, not be half here, half there. And the policy should be geared towards necessary skills, because we can't say everybody come back. Some people are not going to be unemployed. And there's people who are in the diaspora who have great jobs, great paying jobs. They can't give that up to come and work a regular job for the interest of the nation. They have families, they have stuff. And also there's people there who have started families, they have kids who've grown up. Many of them can't take their kids from US to South Sudan with this environment. So you identify people who, one, can come back, possess the necessary skills and the commitment. Because there's some people who can say, hey, you know what, Mading, I want to come back, but I have 5 kids and they're all going to school. What do I do with them? You know?
And when they bring their families to Juba, their schools are not there.
The schools are not there. And they see it themselves, why would I take my kids from US or Canada to study in Juba when the economic and education system is better there? So the criteria has to be established, targeting youth, especially youth who are unmarried, who don't have kids, who can commit, such as myself. I don't have a family.
Let's undermine the word commitment. People have to be committed to South Sudan. And there was a famous case in 2013 where someone took out the South Sudanese passport, threw it away, and he said, you remain with your passport. And I'm pretty sure those who were here fought the war of liberation. When they were watching that, the biggest accusation they have, which you have identified, is that the members of the diaspora are not loyal to South Sudan. They come here, reap opportunities, and run away when things get tough. But that is not true, because I'm from the diaspora, and I have been here since 2013. Let's take a break from it.
Welcome to Dolco Media Services. We have so many services for you, such as video production, camera hiring, sound system hiring, event management, passport photo, stand-up comedy, printing, drama, music, dance, multimedia, and photography. Dolco Media Services, our culture, our pride.
Welcome back to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Adingor. With us, Akol Nyok Akol, a consultant for the Juba-based Nile Foundation. He came back from America. What is he doing in the Republic of South Sudan? So you acquire some skills and you are putting them to good use. Tell us about the Nile Foundation.
The Nile Foundation is a local South Sudanese NGO that specializes in youth empowerment and education programs, especially through training and entrepreneurship, and seeks to give opportunities back to youth who direly need it.
What programs have you implemented so far? Projects?
We've implemented youth leadership training projects, entrepreneurship seminars for youth. We've done basketball events, sporting events, and we've also done Games for Peace with IDP, people in IDP camps, soccer tournament hosted for them.
Do you feel useful that you are making a useful contribution?
Very useful.
Well, what is your takeaway from your activities at the foundation?
The takeaway is being able to interact with people who actually need help, local people who've been here their whole lives, who are suffering from the consequences of the crisis. And my takeaway is interacting with them, learning from them, and helping and growing myself, and at the same time helping them.
When we talk about fixing South Sudan, and in this case, you want to look at it from the point of view of the diaspora, do you think it will take the diaspora populations to fix South Sudan?
Yes, it will.
How?
Skills, and the world has become a global economy. South Sudan, we're now going to compete at a global level. We need people who've competed, people who have experience in that high capacity environment.
And putting together institutions is a critical part of being able to make an impact.
It's a necessary part of being able to make an impact.
And making an impact is very difficult in a situation that does not have institutions.
Exactly.
And reverting back to what you were saying, it is critical for the skills to be here and deployed for change to happen.
Correct.
And you know, I've also been in the diaspora. We know the challenges that face people who come from the diaspora, and also the objective conditions in the diaspora. You talk about the Australian diaspora, there's a lot of discrimination. They are called the gangs, you know, and we have a situation where young people don't finish even high schools. People drop out, and then there's confusion among families. So as someone who has been there, what was the experience of your diaspora?
The things you say are very true. I had experience, I had a lot of colleagues of mine, friends I grew up with, who ended up going to prison, ended up not finishing high school. But what I noticed with a lot of people in the diaspora, many youth, that cultural disconnect creates confusion. People don't know who you are or where you're from. Because you can't be American because, you know, your name is Akol Nyok and you're dark. You're discriminated because you're a foreigner. But you don't know where you come from. So they're caught in the middle. That's why I say environment is so important. And many youth, if you look at Australia and America that do get in trouble, they're lost. Many of them need guidance. Many of them need direction. That's one aspect of it. And me, my experience was I was I really kept to myself, but I really had an objective. I was privileged to have parents who instilled in me the value of South Sudan, the value of where I come from, where my culture. So it gave me a lot of direction. It gave me a lot of initiative. I knew from a young age that I am South Sudanese. I am from this area. This is who I am. So I knew that. I have a commitment. I have people back home. I visited South Sudan in 2006. I saw all my area, went to the villages at a young age. So I was instilled with that. A lot of people are not so blessed, where a lot of people came as refugees. They've lost family, they've lost relatives, and they grow up lost. And that's so dangerous. That's why those of us in South Sudan need to help them, because they need guidance. They need to know that they have a people who stand behind them, people who discipline them when they do wrong and reward them when they do right.
Yes, and it's so true, because you have people who are in jails because of drug dealing, or because of burglaries, or because of, you know, having trouble with the law. But now you can talk back to them. Mm-hmm. What would you tell them as someone who has a powerful example? You were there through thick and thin. You overcame the challenges of growing up black in America, mm-hmm. to being able to come back to your home country. So if you are talking back to those friends of yours and they have a chance to hear you, what will they hear from you?
You have value. You belong to something great. You are South Sudanese. You have a country, you have a people that is going to be there for you. What's happened in America can stay in America, but the future is clear. Don't let what happened in America hold you for the rest of your life. Because growing up black and African is worse in America. Because you're looked down upon from the black Americans. You're seen as, they see us as just animals because of what happens in our countries. But this country is in a temporary state. This is not a permanent condition. No condition is permanent. So I tell them that.
What feeling do you get from being in America and being in South Sudan? What's the difference?
South Sudan, I have more purpose. I feel more at home. In America, I feel uncomfortable. I'm always being looked at. People, they can't pronounce my name. People judge me because of how I look. They judge me because of my skin color. America is that's a great place. I grew up there. But I don't feel as comfortable as I do in South Sudan. Especially when I came to South Sudan, I traveled, I went home, I felt really safe, like this is my area. But in America, I always feel as if I'm a foreigner, I'm a visitor. This is not where I belong. And that's always placed in my head, especially with the media and the thing that's happened, that's always how I feel.
There's usually idealism that is associated with people who are coming back from the diaspora, that they see South Sudan from the lenses of America. And are you getting a bit of that? You have to get to a point where there's reality check. And then and if we do a reality check on where South Sudan is, it's not the country we are aspiring for. It needs a lot of work. You have conflict, you have people displaced, you have widespread hunger. Clearly there are challenges here. There are challenges of nation building, and you are saying the diaspora can be critical component of the nation building generation.
Yes, I do say that. And I always say that South Sudan is now where we need it to be. And we all know that. That's the reality. Nobody's saying that South Sudan is some glorious place. But we're saying that it can be some glorious place. But it takes work, hard work. Because building a nation, we're saying building a nation, not just being given a nation. We're building it. We're fixing it, as you say in the show. And to fix something that has to be broken. This country is broken. Nobody can refute that claim. And that's the reality check. There's economic crisis, there's division, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. But what needs to happen is we need to have the reality check and come up with firm solutions. We can't constantly be talking, there's problems, there's this, there's that. No, let's stop talking about problems. Let's talk about solutions to problems.
So talking about identifying skills and empowering them for the diaspora to contribute effectively to South Sudan, but also it's not, I don't know what you have in mind. Are you talking about the diaspora coming to work for the government or in specific areas? Can you elaborate on that?
Not necessarily the government. I think diaspora should come back and see the framework of what's happening. An example could be if you have an environment where people who are entrepreneurs can come and innovate here, they can do that. Or we have an environment where people who are very skilled in the NGO areas, they have NGOs, local NGOs, they can come do that and you empower them. But what needs to happen from a policy level is policies need to be created to bring back the brain drain that we've had. Policies need to be created where people can come back and say, look, here's institutions or here's policy that can help you establish yourself and contribute to our country. Bringing back talented people to teach in universities, work for the government, work in the private sector, or later even create jobs in their own area. So that's how I say not everybody's going to work for the government, but people need to be given an opportunity to contribute to this country. Everybody should contribute in their small way.
Those who needs to be given opportunity, when we talk about opportunity, there has to be some microfinancing.
Exactly.
For them, the necessary support for them. As we speak, there is something called Diaspora Desk that has been experimented with in America. Is it something you were aware of when you were in America?
No, it wasn't something I was aware of.
And do you think that's what is needed, or we need an act of parliament to turn things around?
I think we need an act in Parliament. I think something needs to happen to engage the communities, identify where the most South Sudanese are, and how can we engage them. They're South Sudanese. Whether they've never seen South Sudan or whether they don't know, they're South Sudanese still. By blood, they have a right to this country. And we need to identify how can we help them. Because they're in another person's country. And through policy, we can help them within their policy. The kids that are getting in trouble, you know, the youth that are lost, we can help them here directly.
Interestingly, in 2013, almost a lot of people were getting confidence or regaining confidence on South Sudan. They came, some came to Nairobi, some came to Juba, and then, you know, the country erupted in violence. So we can talk about putting conducive policies in place, conducive environment in place, but really the greatest attraction for the diaspora would be to see progress. They have become so dismayed with the way South Sudan is going to the point where they just want to see progress. And we are talking about peacemaking. And there's usually a talk right now about whether it is it's the Addis Ababa process, which is called the High-Level Revitalization Forum, or it's the National Dialogue, which is homegrown. So how can we achieve peace for the diaspora to come back?
I think diaspora has to play a role in these things, whether it's in Addis Ababa or here in Juba. The reality is that this country took a turn for the worse, and we all know that. And the fact that diaspora are dismayed, it means they care. If you're upset or pissed off by what's happening in South Sudan, you care. You have a heart for the country. There's some people who don't care, but those that care, they need to be given the opportunity.
Can we say the diaspora are tearing this country apart? Because you see the writings on social media, and it's such a nightmare that people you think can contribute to the development of a country are the ones who are actually feeding the world with a lot of negativity and tearing each other apart. Is that an aspect of the diaspora you condemn?
That's an aspect I condemn highly. I disagree with anybody who's never seen South Sudan with their own eyes that wants to negatively speak, promote hatred, promote tribalism, promote negativity. Because if a fighting erupts, you're comfortable in the U.S., you're comfortable in an air-conditioned room. You're not going to be here in Juba. You're not going to be across the country. That's an aspect that I disagree with. But what I do agree with is those who want to be part of the solutions. Like in any area, there's the good and the bad. Even here, there's those who want to be part of the solution and come up with ways that we can move forward. Then there's those who want to be part of the problem. Leave those part of the problem. Those who want to be part of the solution need to be given opportunities to have their voices heard, have their ideas heard, and have an environment where they can contribute and fix South Sudan.
Can South Sudan be fixed?
Yes, South Sudan will be fixed.
Can it be fixed?
It will be fixed.
What will it take?
Persistence, patience, and unity.
Akol Nyok Akol, thanks for coming to Fixing South Sudan.
Thank you for having me.